Hello everyone, my name is Raven, and I figured I'd do something a little bit different today. We would have ourselves a little sit down and a little chat about this little game called Destiny. It is one of those games that I've played quite a bit. The footage in the background is just going to be of Master Lost Sectors unrelated to what we're talking about, but I figured I'd just kind of talk about, I don't know, the state of the game and why I even play anymore. This is a game that I've played since Forsaken days. It was free on PlayStation way back then, and I got hooked pretty easily back then on a Warlock of all things. I know, crazy, but I do play most of the classes nowadays, 3,000 plus hours later, and I can say it does have a lot of content for people, a lot of build diversity. Like I used to jump on just to play this game, like just to test it out builds and stuff like that. And that hasn't changed much to this day. I'm just kind of a build guy at heart, but it's just one of those things that you find in a game like this that has so much that you actually enjoy doing. With the wide variety of weapons and abilities, it's really easy to do this kind of stuff. And I think that's where this game shines a lot, other than you know, set pieces, art, all that good stuff. But that's a whole nother thing. Like gameplay on the day to day, it's always dependent on what you want to do, sure. But in my time in this game, there's stuff that I haven't even done, for example. And then I would say that speaks volumes to, I mean, not just the content you have in the game, but just like what a person prefers to do, I guess, in it, which, I'm a PvE guy at first, but with there being PvP as well, I had to try it out eventually way back in the day. Like, I farmed comp back in the days when it was 4v4 and we were fighting for Luna's Howl, Recluse, all that stuff. And it was different times. That game was very different than the one we play this day. I wouldn't go back personally, but I do cherish moments from back then. It's nice to reminisce and compare what we have now to back then. But anyway, this game is not without faults. I mean, the repetition of grinding stuff over and over again is detrimental to people's like health, to a person's like mental stability sometimes, I imagine. Like just seeing what I'm doing in the background, Lost Sectors, for example. I used to farm these for hours and hours on end just to try and get something, and RNG would not bless me. And it's just like, eventually I stopped. I looked at it and I was like, why am I doing this if I'm not going to get anything good out of it? And so I stopped doing it for a time, and it's like, that's the thing you need to do in a game like this. It's just like, take breaks from time to time. If it's dull, if it's getting to that point where you're just not having fun, you just don't play it for a little bit. It's fine. We all know, like, Destiny players know for sure when this game is really good, it's going good, and when it's bad, you definitely notice it a bit more, sure, but that's just part of the process, I imagine. Like, it takes, what is it, like 2 years, it feels like a cycle for us to, like, get really good stuff, like, with the 3.0 update to subclasses, it changed drastically how our abilities worked, and our weapons started to become craftable eventually, too, within Witch Queen, and that to me is where like all of this like gold star to this kind of stuff, like all the praise goes to being able to craft weapons and cut out RNG, in my opinion. Sure, there's a bit of RNG still in it, but there's way less of it when you need to get 5 of something, for example, to be able to make something that you want like perfectly. I think that is a lot better personally. Another thing about this game that I've always loved is just like how heavy on the community it really is. Like you always need a fire team to do a lot of the best stuff in this game, like dungeons and raids. Like sure you can solo dungeons, people do that, but a lot of the time you have a fire team, whether it be friends or randoms, and that's where the memories of this game are really made. Like I've had plenty of friends play this game and fall off of it and leave me to be the only guy that really sticks with it. Like sure some of them kind of filter on back in, but a lot of the times people drop it and they just don't come back because they expect it to be the same game that they left it as. Which, in some cases, yeah, it is at its core, like gameplay, I imagine, but when we're starting to do very different things in terms of, like, you know, the crafting the weapons, the new abilities stuff with the Void 3.0, Solar 3.0, Arc 3.0, all that. Strand being a subclass, Stasis just so good, in my opinion. All of that stuff has plenty to mess around with, and I guarantee you, like, people pre like Beyond Light, in the Forsaken era, would have never imagined using stuff like Stasis and Strand. I mean, Grapple Hook in this game, come on, people, it's great. I would have never imagined that when I was running through the Red War campaign. But you may be asking yourself, like, why is this man even saying any of this? It just sounds like I'm rambling. It's like, well, a lot of people do leave this game, and it's hard to see that because it is genuinely fun, but not a lot of people see it, I guess, like that. A lot of people do, but like it's all about trying to keep players, right? And that's one of the hardest things people can do. It's just hard to see a lot of people go. If you made it this far, I do really appreciate you listening to me ramble a bit. I have actual ideas for content within this game if y'all want it. I just need to know if people actually would want to see that kind of stuff. I'm just gonna getting some feelings off of my chest, I guess, seeing how people are talking about this game and reacting to it. I'm just trying to let people know, like, yeah, some people still do genuinely enjoy it, like, it is fun at times. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it.